Jam, the home of motorsport. More than a race.
Hey, it's Brandon from Unleashed Drivers, and today I'm going to be doing a lap guide at Spa using the Ferrari 488 GT3. So the things I say here might be different for other cars. So let's get into the lap. Coming down to the first corner, you want to use that distance board on the left wall as your braking marker. Brake pretty much alongside that or slightly before. Now you want to trail brake coming into the source, and you can get right up next to that wall if you like. I don't quite make it here. Coming out of the corner, you don't want to get onto that curbing on the left. It'll slow down your exit speed, and also be careful putting down the throttle because you don't want to spin the wheels or let the traction control interfere too much. And now we head down to Eau Rouge, where there is a curb on the left that you want to go right over, and you want to aim right for that white line like on screen, and then you want to start turning right, and you want to avoid the inner curbing coming up the hill there, or it'll probably spin you out or you'll crash. Now at top of Radeon, you want to cut right over this curbing, not too much but enough like you see here, and you won't get your lap invalidated. And now we head down the Camel straight to the next corner. Now there is a distance board on the wall, and there's also a curbing you can use as a braking marker, and you want to brake just before it and trail brake. And you can use this curbing on the inside, but you have to be super careful because the rear likes to stick out in this car if you use it too much. You can accelerate a tiny bit just between the chicane and possibly use the curbing on the left again. You don't have to, I do here. Coming back right to the left, and then you want to coast slightly, and once you know you've got the grip and you can put your foot down again, start accelerating. I wouldn't recommend using that curb on the inside there. It'll upset the car quite a bit, and you don't want to run too wide on exit because that'll be your lap invalidated. Now this corner here, you want to brake just before the curbing starts or right on it with this car and aim straight for the apex, and when you get there you can start letting off the brake gently or keep it on very lightly, coast a little bit, let the car grip up, and as you start gripping up, you can start easing on the throttle again and then bring it back to the right. So you want to brake very lightly for this corner and pretty much coast through it, and as soon as you get to the apexes, that's when you want to start accelerating again. You can afford to use the curb a little bit, just don't run too wide or once again your lap will be invalidated. Now coming to Pujon, I don't exactly have a good braking point here, braking marker I should say, but I sort of estimate it well each time. You can use the marker on the screen, but you want to coast quite deep into this corner, and only just about here you want to start accelerating again and make your way through here. Not all cars have as much grip, so you've got to be careful. Use the sign as a brake marker here, and you want to brake just under it. Slowly trail brake, and you can use these curbs here on the insides, but just be careful with that, you might unstabilize the car. Now bring it back to the left and use this curbing as your braking marker, And you can use a little bit of this curbing on the inside here to help you get around the corner. Just don't accelerate too early or you upset the car, or might run too wide and go into the sand. I got really lucky here, I didn't quite go into the sand, but I stayed on track. And now coming around this long corner here, you can use a tiny bit of curbing to help pull yourself around the corner, but whatever you do, you don't want to run too wide, or once again your lap will be invalidated. So now we make our way down up to Blanchemont, where it should be flat for most cars. Some cars you can't quite take it flat. This one you can. You can use a bit of this AstroTurf on the outside and just start turning in. Don't hit the curbing on the inside because that'll hurt you and you'll lose some time. And I also wouldn't recommend running onto that curbing on the outside. It slows you down a tiny bit. Now there's another distance board on the wall here you can use as a braking marker. You can brake pretty much alongside that, maybe just after. Now the last couple corners, try avoid the sausage curves, but get close to them. As you can see here, I get fairly close. In the final corner, ease on that throttle, be careful, and to the finish line we go. And this was a lap time of a 2 minute 17.2, which was pretty quick. And I slightly modified the setup in this car, so I will bring that up right now. But let us know what else you want to see in ACC. I'll be doing more lap.
Welcome to the Kid Buyers YouTube channel, the home of motorsport. More than a race.
Cross-platform.
Yeah,
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you're watching right around the world. Hello and welcome to round number 4. Where is this season going? Tonight we saw plenty of action in Tier 2 last night, and tonight We're here to do it all over again for Tier 1. And somebody is already spinning. We're seeing pretty treacherous conditions out there as I welcome with great pleasure once again back for another week, Mr. Bob Hoskins. Come on down. Bob, how are you?
Yeah, very well, thanks, mate. Yeah, it's starting to get a bit warmer over here, so it's I'm sat in my shorts tonight.
That's right, nice and sunny over there. COVID doesn't exist over there, of course, unlike Victoria. And also alongside him is the great man all the way coming to you from Monrovia in Nigeria is none other than Voodoo. Voodoo, what spells are you going to have in store for us tonight?
Rain is just the start. I've got a bit of snow lined up. You never know what can be conjured around here.
There we go. Looking forward to that. And boy, oh boy, wet, wet, wet. Gentlemen here tonight. Big hello to everybody watching. Practice damp as well. And Aussie Thunder has almost lost it there, Bob. That is a tough corner. I think that was Pouan. And through turn 12 there. It's a tricky track to go flat in the dry. But even more so in the wets. This track, of course, the famous Spa-Francorchamps, as we run a tick over 7 kilometres this track, 20 corners, including the famous Eau Rouge, Camel Straight, you know most of them, Stavelot, Blanchimont, and the rest of them. 10 people watching. Great to have you all with us once again tonight. Sit back and get ready for this. With 5 minutes to go in qualifying, we have a 1 hour race. That's right, a 1 hour race coming to you for round 4 of this championship. And it looks, with 5 minutes to go, like, well, we've got Matterford across the line with a 2 minutes 30 there, Bob. And that is a long way off the pace, but given the conditions, you've got to be oh so careful here, don't you?
Yeah, no, dead right. So, I mean, a good time around here is, 2:18, sort of in the dry, but I would expect to see these kinds of conditions about, 8 to 10 seconds off of a decent dry time.
And we can
so
see...
expect 2:27s, 2:28s maybe.
So we're going to get quicker, and the track conditions very wet there. You can see track temperature 21 degrees, very cool. Air temperature 19. Tick under, over 4 minutes, I should say, left, as HSV goes to the top of the timing sheets, a 10th. Clear of Wilco, righty 5/10 back. We're looking at Barters at the moment. One of half a dozen or so drivers yet to set a time. Voodoo is the safety car for tonight, just to keep everybody informed. And the cheese man himself, Rob Dog, coming across the line to start a hot lap, one would assume. He's not the chicken man anymore, he's the cheese man. And you might say, as he spins coming out of turn 1, cheesy come, cheesy go. And that's just one of the many puns we will give that man tonight. But he's back in the pits. And also another driver who's up in 7th and looking pretty good. He didn't sound too good before we came on air tonight. Bob, is John up there in 7th?
Yeah, I think he might have had to have put an eye patch on for this qualifying session.
He's sitting pretty there, 3.8 off the pace at the moment. Good turnout for tonight. Of course, Johnny Farnham, Rob Dog making a comeback. This could be the last time. We're not sure whether it's a tour. We might see him next week as well. But is that rain? It looks like it's getting heavier, but it might have stayed the same. Voodoo will be right across that as we take a look at Aussie Thunder and Branchy. Isuzu Brian says, let's go Branchy, you old fox. Go get the dogs. Cheers to you. So look at that, 11 people watching tonight. It is great to have you with us. And look how close it's going to be, Albert.
Maddie's got a good lap coming in. Maddie's got a very good lap coming in.
And this looks like it's going to be very close indeed. And here comes Matterford. It is very good indeed. At 2:28.7, if you don't mind, Bob Hoskins. Straight to the top of the timing sheets. And we've got a yellow. We had a yellow flag out there just after Eau Rouge. I didn't see who it was, but well, the pressure's on now. Can these guys get a time in? Rick Oztech, good to see him as well. He's 7 seconds off the pace. Good vibes. And who do we have on a hot lap at the moment? Wilco.
Wilco's just on top.
He has gone to the top of the timing charts. He left us hanging. He wasn't too sure whether he'd be racing here tonight, but now Matterford 9 tenths further back, of course. HSV And in that very nice looking livery there, 0.009 between them. 9 thousandths of a second separates Wilco and Matterford in the two McLarens, first and second. And we don't have a lot of time left in qualifying, but we might take a look at the championship standings. And I tell you what, Bob, between Albert and Barters, just 6 points in it, then it's Matterford on 36. And 29 for Righty, 24 for Branchy, Isuzu, Brian on 21, Static on 20, Thunder on 18, and the rest of them. Drivers of the week, of course, Aussie Thunder for Tier 2 last week, and Righty for Tier 1. And we cannot take our eyes off this qualifying session here tonight. It is so close. Look at the gap between the top two as Prince Albert is also very long lap around here, like we said at the top of our show, a tick over 7 kilometres. And so traffic not much of an issue here. As we can see, Static Hazard, who forgot to ready up last night. And is he on a hot lap? We'll have a look. He comes through the bus stop. Right, left. Currently down in P13. One of only a few drivers yet to set a time. Here he comes. Where can he go on the timing sheets? He might be just starting a hot lap. There we have it. So less than 30 seconds to go in this session. And I'm just looking at the track map, Bob. Who's going to make it for a final run and who's going to miss out here?
I'm currently on board with Albert, and Albert has got a flyer in at the moment. If he keeps it clean, he's going to be very close to taking pole.
And yellow flag's out. I think it's Stavilo, somewhere around there, but it's been cleared now. And there we have it. So qualifying is finished. We might try and do this in order. Let's see who we've got on a hot lap. Matterford starts a hot lap. Here comes HSV. Coming up to the final chicane here. So the time is up in very tricky conditions. And there's something about Spa and rain that go hand in hand as HSV comes out of the final corner now. Currently 9 tenths off of pole position. Here he comes across the line. Can he improve? Yes, he does. Only by a couple of tenths. What can Albert do? Up to second. How spicy is this going to be? Who else have we got on hot lap? Branchy. I think Branchy might be the next of them, or it might be... Is Wilco on a hot lap? We'll get back to that.
Vibes and then Branchy.
So we'll have a look at Vibes. 5.4 seconds off. Let's take a look across the line. Here he comes. Improves, and then it's Branchy. Currently in P7, stays P7, I reckon. We'll just see who else we've got. Matterford.
Static's still out, isn't he?
And Matterford's out there, and we might take a look.
Rob Dog will be the next car.
So Wilco's slowed up, so he is out of this session. Back into the pit lane. Here comes Rob Dog. And Dazzler, Big Dazzler's checked in. Great to have you with us once again. Aussie's #1 fan. Your man starting inside the top 10 tonight. And these numbers, Voodoo, their numbers are huge. Look at that, 14 people from Benalla to Nigeria and then back. Look how good this is, and I don't think I can do much. I think my screen's locked now, but let's take a look at Rob Dog. Johnny Farnham, he was calling himself before the race tonight, doing the comeback tour. Currently plumb last. Let's see what he can do. Can he get a time? A little bit scruffy out of there, Bob. Out of that final chicane, but he comes across the line. Let's have a look. What it's gonna be? He comes across, and it's not much by the looks of it, Bob. He will start from the back of the field as we get ready to go racing here. But there we have it, Jason Wilkinson. Everybody in Carrum Downs, hold your collective breath because Jason Wilkinson is on pole position, 2 minutes 28.272. Thank you, Richie. Ahead of Albert there, 1/10 further back, Matterford, HSV. And then Binger, Righty rounding out the top 6, Branchy. And good vibes, the rest of them on your screen. Wilco's hoping for a wet race. And Brian says, no, Wilco, no, that's not what we want to see. As, boy, this is going to be one hectic race. We're just going to take a short break. Ladies and gentlemen, do not go anywhere because we've got 1 hour of action here for Tier 1 for KRL. We'll be back right after this.
Welcome to the Kid Buyers YouTube channel, home of motorsport.
return to garage.
For 30 minutes, it looks like it's going to be the same weather as we got now.
Yeah, because... Oh.
Yeah, go, sorry.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and well, that answers the question for us all. Gentlemen, it is raining, and not just raining, Voodoo, you have cast quite the spell on this circuit because it is absolutely pissing down, Bob, and this is going to be very, very tricky for the drivers here at the start of this race tonight.
Yes, very moist. And one person that does like to make early moves is young Albert. So we'll see how big his coconuts are as they head through Radion and Eau Rouge for the first time in these conditions.
Yes, we will see how big those cojones are. If everyone's wondering why we are looking at Rob Dog right at the back of the field, it's because I cannot change the cameras until we get underway here tonight. But as you can see, the top of your screen, it is a 1 hour race, 6:04 p.m. local time. 16 or 15 runners effectively here tonight, and it is a bit of a long warm-up lap here. So there we have it, the championship standings. Albert on top ahead of Barters. We might even take a look at the race calendar, why not? You can see there, after tonight, we've still got 3 rounds left in this KRL British GT Championship. Tonight at Spa, the only race not to be in the UK. Next week we are at Snetterton, Alton Park, and then back to Donington, which hosted round 3 of this championship. But here we have it, 15 drivers. The conditions, does it look worse than before, Rob? Or would you say, Bob, not Rob, there's Rob. Would you say it's worse, the weather, or better, or about the same?
Well, I think it's about the same as when we jumped in. It's just all going to depend on what, you know, on if our screens are correct. It looks as if it is going to get worse from here on in.
So it's not quite able to see that 4K. It does look like it's getting... I've seen that graphic, Voodoo, and hopefully your screen is working as it should as we get ready to go racing here. But I think that graphic may be saying heavier rain, as Jason is good enough to join us. Plenty of Jasons in the chat tonight. Hello to you, Jason, and welcome, because you've joined. Timing is absolutely impeccable because we are ready to get underway. And you can see we should be looking at the front of the grid, of course, but we're stuck on Rob for the moment. But once the race gets underway, we'll be back at the business end of the field. Here we go. We're getting ready for the lights to go green here. 1 hour of Spa in the wet is coming your way for KRL. Here we go. We are ready to go racing here. The drivers just have to stay either side of the track. They need to stay in their lane, of course, and you can see they will all be streaming up to Eau Rouge and Radion for the first time, and then on down to the Kemmel Straight on towards Lacombe. And boy, oh boy, if it's half as exciting as what we saw last night, we're in for an absolute treat. But here we go. We're waiting for the green. You can see the drivers very strict, aren't they? You don't want to get a penalty or anything, Bob, at the start of this race. We saw that last week with somebody getting a penalty. I forget who it was, but you've got to stay. There we have it. Green light, go, go, go. And we are going to go back to the front. And it's the pole position man who gets a good getaway ahead of our championship leader, Albert. Are they going to get through? Are they going to get through Eau Rouge cleanly? Manafort's had a moment. He's disappeared off my screen, but down the Kemmel Straight for the first time, it is Wilco and Albert. And my goodness, you mentioned it on the warm-up lap. He's got a huge set of cojones, because I think that's Spanish for coconuts, because look at that. He almost made a move. Very tricky conditions. Manafort's dropped off the timing charts. What is going on there? Isuzu Brian says Branchy hopefully doesn't get turned around again tonight. But Albert is all over him, look. And there's plenty happening right through the field here, Bob. Somebody else off onto the grass. And Rob's made up a few positions already, up to 9th from 16th, halfway through lap 1.
No, that's a good effort. Oh no, Albert's around.
And Albert, oh my goodness. Look at that. Prince Albert has gone off at, I think it might have been the corner with no name. I've missed it. But you can see there he's dropping right down the field through Puol. And these very tricky conditions, you've got to stay off those curbs. But Wilco still leads. He's got a couple of tenths on, must be HSV. Is it in second place now once those timing sheets update? No, in fact, who is up in second position? We've lost Albert, HSV further down. And Binger and Ridey, I beg your pardon, HSV, Branchy, Thunder, Rob Dog, all the way up in ninth. Wow, what a start. Not even through lap one, 58 minutes to go in this incredible race. You can see on your screen the rain looks like it's sticking with us for the entire race here tonight. And the Cheese Man up to 7th now and right amongst the action as we head up to the bus stop chicane. Is he going to have a go at Thunder? And look at this, off the track. They might get a warning for that, Thunder, but he's kept it all together now. Rob Dog putting him under all sorts of pressure here with 14, 13 now. As soon as I've said that, people watching the stream, Baker's Dozen, great to have you with us. Do not go anywhere because it's going to be action aplenty here tonight. But after lap one, Bob, it is Wilco sitting pretty for the time being out in front, 2.3 seconds ahead of Binger. As somebody else has dropped down right to the back of the field. I think Albert's right at the back now after that incident on lap one.
Yeah, so it was... Madaford actually went right to the back of the field. He actually clipped the inside curb going through Radion, and he went around. So he dropped to the back, and then obviously just... dropping down to, where was he? So it was Lake Coombe, they went through, so it was, as they headed down to Rivage, that's where Albert went around. So yeah, we've had a couple of spins, and I'll tell you who I fancy at the moment is Binger and HSV in the Merc, because it's more stable.
Very nicely done indeed, very stable in these conditions, and Brian is spot on. Rob Dog has made some mega moves, and you might say that sweet dreams are made of cheese. That's just one of many cheese puns, and he's almost lost it as soon as I said my first cheese pun of the evening, but now Thunder putting all sorts of pressure on him. But look at Wilco out in front by plenty. I say plenty, it's only 2.2 seconds, but we'll just... Oh! Something is happening, Bob. What's going on there?
Yes, sorry, I wanted to keep an eye on how Rob Dog was going, and he touched the curb. That Bentley didn't like it, and Aussie is back through on Rob Dog.
So Rob Dog from 5th down to 6th. He's got a habit of doing this. They were calling him Johnny Farnham here tonight. This could be the last time, we're not too sure, but down from 15th on the grid up to 5th, and now back down to 6th. Bit of a habit of just coming from nowhere, getting good starts early and climbing up the field, but it's whether he can stay there. That is the big question. Another big question, our driver of the week from last week's Tier 1 race, Ridey, is looking the goods here, if you don't mind. Bit of damage on the front of that Pink Panther Ferrari, but he's right up behind Binger, not close enough to make a move. But wow, don't these conditions make for some... absolutely hectic racing. Albert's got back up to 12th, whilst I've been shitting on to you. But Barter's in 11th now. GRT rounding out your top 10. Where is Aussie Dazzler? He is up in 5th position here on our timing screen, so he's doing very nice as we took a quick look at GRT there. And wow, where do you look at the moment? But Wilco's still 3 seconds out in front, Bob, but we know these conditions... plenty can happen in the next 54 minutes of this race. And let me tell you, Aussie Thunder, so most drivers getting away cleanly. Madaford already back inside that top 10. And it's a bit, right up behind Good Vibes now. And is he going to make a move here down the Kemmel Straight up towards Les Combles? And he is very close. In fact, has he got this move done, Bob? He's certainly alongside him.
Oh, yeah, he's got that done. So John is the next victim.
So John, currently in Madaford's sights there, you can see Just maybe if Matterford just sends him a message or says to him in the party chat that there's a random breath test further up ahead, Bob, and that might just put him off because he wasn't in great shape, but he's doing okay in this race so far. P7 at the moment, and Rob Dog a little bit further on down the field, but as we can see, Voodoo, there he has it, just sitting quietly there in the pit lane. He is the safety car, of course. Rick Oztech, haven't called his name much tonight, but it's always good to see Rick, because if we didn't have Rick, who else would we have in 15th place at the back? But just kidding, it's fantastic to see him there. Static Hazard, who missed the start last night, as what's he doing down there? 8 seconds off of Static. He's got a bit of damage, Bob. We may have missed something at the start, but he's been up to no good, I reckon, in that Mercedes. He's down in 14th as we continue to look at the drivers lower down the order. And Branchy, there we have it, in 13th. Not lucky for him. Brian, Isuzu Brian. John is good under DUI, LOL. And there we have it, Albert outside the top 10. But for how long, Bob Hoskins? Because as he passed GRT here, he's back inside the top 10. Great stuff from Albert as he continues his comeback drive here tonight. And boy, oh boy, at this rate, what is he? He's only under 10 seconds off the lead, so the field still pretty close. So he is the championship leader as GRT. Look at this ride. Look at straight in the pits. So he's coming into the pits, Bob. What's all this about? Getting in the stop out of the way early here, I'd imagine.
Yeah, so it looks as if the weather is has gone steady now, so it's looking like it's just going to stay at this level for the remainder. What I am keeping an eye on at the moment is HSV is starting to weigh righty up. So he's had a couple of little sniffs, he showed his nose a couple of times, and I would expect HSV to be making a move in the next lap or so.
And you can see there, HSV, right as you were saying that, Bob, he was right up behind him, didn't have a go into Lake Com, but he's getting very close indeed in that Mercedes ride. He's sticking with it though. Is he going to go around the outside? No, I don't think so, not on that occasion. Rob has steadied himself. Now in 6th place. He's got a bit of a gap there to John. John looking to make moves on Matterford, is it? Or is it Matterford who's made a move on him? I reckon it's the latter.
Matterford on John.
Yep, Matterford's got past John. So John is down, back into 8th place. Good vibes. It's very close in this midfield. We see it each and every week. These guys in the midfield having very close, clean battles. I say clean, not always the case. Very respectful, we should say, down there in the midfield. But here we have it, lap 3 of this race. And is this man checking out at the front? Not quite, Bob. But it's 3.4 seconds as we are going to head down into the pits. Voodoo, can you see what these conditions are like? I think it's going to remain steady, is it, for the rest of this race? Are we going to see any change in the conditions here tonight?
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. Definitely keeping an eye on it, as I see Rob on the grass there might have had a moment. You know, in the next 10 minutes or so we could get an updated prediction, and that will give us the remainder of the race. Aussie has a massive moment. But yeah, it looks like it's going to be these conditions. Track's going to be drying up at certain points, so expect tyres to start warming up, and you're definitely going to need to start thinking about a pit strategy soon.
Put a nice hot set of tyres on as we've ticked under the 50-minute mark here tonight for this round 4 endurance race. And I think that was Thunder having a big moment. He is well down the field now as we threw down to you, Voodoo. Thank you for the update. 49 minutes, 41 seconds left in this race. Recapping if you're just joining us, as is that righty I see trying to make a move, or in fact I reckon he might have made a move.
It's HSV on righty, but I feel it was a little bit naughty, so he cut the track at Radion. So that might be something that may be discussed later in the race.
Yes, we'll have to keep an eye on that one. As Dazzler says, I love this track. It's an absolute beauty, isn't it? He said it looks like a gun. It certainly does, doesn't it? Like an Uzi or something there with the, yep, it's the very nice, great imagination there, Dazzler. We absolutely love it. It's keep the comments coming in. 13 people watching. We're back to these numbers. HSV up to his old tricks, says Brian. Wow. So there we have it. Controversy as HSV then, and Righty back down behind him now in fourth. Matterford. He's done quite well considering what happened at the start. And is something going on with Albert there, Bob?
Yeah,
No?
so Albert has had John as well. So he's next up the road for Albert is Matterford. So Matterford's making up a lot of ground, and so is Albert.
And this is the King of Spain, the Prince of Spain, Albert, up to 7th. And a man who said before we went to air tonight, he goes, I showed a little bit of the stream to my girlfriend. She said, who is that crazy man? And Albert just loving this at the moment. Bad start for him. A big shout out to all those Albert fans out there if you speak English, which I'm sure they do. But Albert, better leave that one there as he's up to 6 now, 2.6 seconds off of Matterford. And are we going to see any team orders here for the championship? I don't think so, because Matterford's right up there as well. But these two boys, they're not far off. Wilco's not exactly checking out at the front, is he, Bob? These two boys, if they don't have too much damage, they've got plenty of pace tonight with 47 minutes to go.
Yes, I think if they try and look at the long game, I mean, Albert's next rival is Bardas, so he's already got a number of positions, over and above Bardas. So is it worth him risking it? If he can just sit here at a nice steady pace without pushing it, he's going to increase that lead.
And there we have it, HSV getting within half a second of Binger for P2. Brian not too impressed with his work here, HSV, but he's getting very close to Binger, who's he's had a bit of a rough season, Binger. He's hasn't had a lot of time to practice as HSV looking to go down there. He's not going to get through, but that is a very interesting livery there. Picked up some artwork from my daughter's daycare the other day. Looked very similar to that. It's a little bit unique.
Oh, Wilco's
gone. Wilco's spinning, and was he reversing? It looked like he was reversing back.
Yes.
into the path of a pink Ferrari. HSV don't do a Binger. There we have it. Thank you, Brian. But I didn't see what happened. But sometimes when you're sitting pretty out in front, strange things can happen, can't they, Bob? The concentration can go. He was, 3 and a bit seconds out in front. And it doesn't take much. You just put a wheel onto the curbs, onto those white lines, and it can be disastrous, can't it, around here?
Yeah, so, I mean, the McLaren is a little bit more twitchy. That's why I felt that these Mercedes were going to become a problem for everyone else, as the race progressed. And that's what we've seen. In Binger and HSV, they haven't put a foot wrong other than cutting Radion. And, yeah, they seem to be sat there nice, rock solid.
So now, this battle on your screen, Mercedes versus Mercedes. And look at this, Binger and HSV. This battle was for P2, but now the position that they're looking at is P1, ladies and gentlemen, as Voodoo reporting from the pit lane. And he's just saying, as HSV, is he going to stick his nose down the inside there? No, I was just seeing things. But Voodoo saying, I would not be surprised if Wilco comes into the pits. And that'd be a very smart move, wouldn't it? Get that pit stop out of the way with 45 minutes left in this race. But this, ladies and gentlemen, is the lead battle. And look how close it is. Takes a big set of cojones to go up there full pace. And those boys, we saw a few penalties and warnings last night, Bob. They don't mind a bit of a cheeky cut there, do they, at Eau Rouge at the top of the hill? But we'll keep an eye out for that. And Binger and HSV's not quite close enough. Well, they're in exactly the same
Binger's
car.
going nice and defensive. Binger is taking very defensive lines, in all honesty.
So he's
but they're keeping it nice and clean, so it's benefiting them.
And you can see there, very clever, wasn't it, from Binger, just keeping that car, covering the space that he needs to, keeping that car as wide as it needs to be. That black and gold Mercedes, the number 33. Great to see Binger out in front. He's had a bit of a rough trot, hasn't he, Voodoo, in recent times, and it is great to see him out in front of this race. But as we know, it's been a bit of a curse, hasn't it, in recent times, out in front. P1, as that is not... Get out of here. That is not a position you should be passing, but he almost got it done there, Bob. But he's all over the back of him, look.
Yeah, so you could see that, yeah, both of them are a little bit twitchy in certain areas, and yeah, they're weighing each other up, I think. But to be honest, I would go with Binger on this at the moment. He's looking the more planted.
He's looking steady, and you can tell it's much easier to chase than to lead. But you got to say, Binger, like we said, he's putting that car in all the right places here. And you can see Brian says Binger in the Merc. Maybe the change has helped him from the Nissan, of course. And you can see Voodoo. Most drivers would be on their second warning by now at the top of Eau Rouge. And he's overcooked it, I reckon. HSV going into the bus stop chicane, has he? And he's going to lose a bit of time here. Don't forget, Bob. You can see, I keep seeing flashes of a pink Ferrari. Is he getting closer to this battle now? So while these two are sort of jostling for position, that's down to 2.5. Oh. So
who was that? That was Madaford around. So Albert is now up into 5th.
So Albert, wow. Buenos noches, Albert. Welcome to the party. He's making a pretty good recovery here, I would say. He looks pretty good. He went right down to the back. He was all up in Wilco's business off the start line. But now he's making a very good comeback here and looking good in the championship battle. I was about to say something about Ridey, and Wilco's not too far behind him again. But it's unfortunate with... we do see it a bit with Wilco, don't we, Bob? He gets out in the lead a bit early on in proceedings, and then we do see those unforced errors. And then he sort of ends up on the comeback trail. But Albert now... And there's a bit of a gap, isn't there, between Wilco and Albert and Madaford, in fact. So it was, yep, Albert in front of Madaford now. And as Voodoo, that's it. I was going to say that at the top of Eau Rouge, tough to get the turn without spinning on the curb. So we'll keep an eye on those drivers up at the top of Eau Rouge. And can Albert do it, Brian? LOL, last to first. I don't know, Brian. We'll keep an eye on that. But can he do that? He's well and truly on the comeback. 41 minutes left here, Brian, so there's plenty of time left in this race. And I can tell you on lap 7, it is Binger, not in the Nissan, but in the Mercedes, leading this race over HSV, who had a bit of a mistake on that last lap. 2.3 back to Righty, our driver of the week from last week. But there's Wilco not too far behind him. And Albert... in P5, and Madaford there just behind him. And Rob Dog, well, he's 8.3 off of Madaford, but still sitting pretty there in 7th. I reckon he'd take that at the moment, Bob, considering this is a man who's come in with not a lot of practice due to various work commitments, but he's doing very nicely tonight, Rob.
Yeah, to come up from the back of the field and to be sitting in the mid-pack, that's no mean feat. That's really well done.
Well, oh, bit of a twitchy moment there. We've got to get that camera off him because the commentator's curse will strike. And Branchy on Barters. Hello. Let's have a look at this. Thank you, Brian, because this is going to be fantastic stuff. I think this is the closest battle on the track. I think it might very well be. And Branchy all over Barters. This is for P9. We know that Lamborghini is very good in a straight line, but so... is everything else. As somebody is messaging me, please do not do that. That's the wife. You better take that message a bit later. But Branchy now onto the main straight through to complete lap 8 of this race. And you can see there all over the back of him. We'll get back to that in a moment. Aussie Thunder outside the top 10 along with Static Hazard and Rick Oztech, who's still circulating. No, I beg your pardon. GRT is down in 14th. But he's a long way off the pace here at the moment. But Wilco all up in Ridey's business. Getting very close indeed to that Ferrari, Bob. Oh, where can he get a move done here? Let's have a look. He's just got to get close enough, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think he's just got to take a nice smooth line through Pouon, but this is where the... Oh, yeah, he's gone again. This is where the McLaren seems to be most twitchy as you start coming down the hill from Lecun.
There we have it. We'll go very close as John Shepherd get the dogs. Thank you, John, Brian, Voodoo, Jessan, Quillan, everybody for watching us here tonight. Wilco's going to make some moves down the inside. This is fantastic stuff. Great to watch this battle for the final podium position here at Spa-Francorchamps, round 4 of this Tier 1 British GT Championship for KRL, wherever you are watching right around the world. It's great to have you with us, and Brian, can Wilco stick to the pink bits? I'm sure he's got plenty of history there, but he is through and up into 3rd place, if you don't mind. But is Righty going to have a go back at him? But he is absolutely on the pace, and he's on his merry way. 3.9 seconds now behind HSV, and what lap or roughly when are we going to start seeing some pit stops here? Of course, mandatory pit stops tonight. Bob, when would you come into the pits if you were racing here tonight?
To be honest, I would split it 50-50. Or, I mean, you can go late and you just take less fuel. It all swings and roundabouts. It all depends on what your tyres are doing, I suppose. If you feel that they're getting a little bit hot, you know, you might leave it a little bit later, because that pit lane, they are going to cool considerably.
So split it 50-50, you reckon?
Yeah, that's what I would be doing. But I'm surprised that HSV hasn't pitted already, because if he feels that he was being held up a little bit by Binger, it would be wise just to get that pit stop out of the way and try for the undercut.
Yep, and the undercut is a very long pit lane here, but we've seen the undercuts work in the past. And you can see, and all the while, you mentioned about the pit stop, we're talking about pit stop strategy here with 36 minutes to go in this race, and you can see we'll keep an eye on that gap back to Wilco. It would make sense, wouldn't it, Bob, for him to just come into the pits if he can't get a move done on Binger, as we've got a weather update from the Nigerian Prince in the pit lane. He says the weather looks like it will remain this way for the remainder of the race, but a dry line could be burning the wet tyres. Very twitchy there into Stavolo, or is it Pouon? Pouon, in fact, for HSV. Very twitchy indeed. Getting back to Voodoo, thank you. Dry line could be burning those wet tyres, but the track needs them in this current state, so it's a tricky one, Bob. You get that dry line emerging, you're going to overheat the tyres, then we're going to see drivers sort of getting offline and trying to cool them down. And you can see pretty steady right the way through the rest of this race, almost at half distance. Thank you to the Nigerian Prince in the pit lane, and he will be casting a spell on these drivers tonight. And you can see there, send me your bank account details, Voodoo. And Binger in P1, and he just should make a pit stop, shouldn't he? But a bit of the red mist. Oh, that's so close. Very loose indeed, Brian. How good is Binger in the wet? He's still getting that car where he needs to, and now it's Binger into the pit lane. So he's pulled the pin. He's coming into the pit lane, and I don't know what you reckon, Wilco as well. This looks like it could be a very smart move here, Bob.
Yeah, so if he feels that he was coming under pressure and he's starting to make mistakes from HSV and being behind him, it just relieves that pressure for him. I don't know where it's going to bring them back out, though. I would expect to see him, you know, towards the back of the pack now. Is there a big gap somewhere?
And they might fall
they should come in front of GRT.
So they'll come
It's
out.
a massive gap.
So there's a huge gap, isn't there? So as Rick Oztech almost has a moment. Sorry, I was just trying to look on the track map there for a gap. We'll keep an eye on that. But meantime, Albert has stayed out on track along with Righty and HSV. Well, we're talking about HSV. as Voodoo. Static had a massive moment at the top of Radillon and has teleported to the pit lane. So I think he might have fallen off our timing screens as well. I think Static, I can't see him on the left-hand side there, so he may have gone. And Voodoo just confirming that Static has sadly retired from this race. And HSV, the front of that Merc, has been very twitchy, Bob, over the last couple of laps for him.
Yeah, it's hard to gauge when to do it, and I mean, these two guys, they're still static in the pits, so it's a real long time that you lose in this pit stop.
And you can see the rain, no sign of letting up here. So I think we started with 15. Now we've got 14 remaining. 13, I beg your pardon, not including Voodoo in the safety car sitting in the pit lane ready for action. And GRT, well, he was a long way back now, but he's made up plenty of time here. And I reckon Wilco might have fallen into a pretty nice gap there. Where was he going there? I just caught the back of him coming out of Eau Rouge there. Well, not the back of him, but he looked like he was taking a bit of an interesting line through there. Voodoo Binger released from the pits in front of Wilco. So there we have it. So Binger, Wilco, GRT, the only three drivers to make a stop here tonight as we approach half distance in this round 4 race here at Spa, the beautiful circuit in Belgium, weaving our way through the Ardennes forest. And Wilco now down there in 11th. We'll get back to the front. Let's have a look at the business end of things. 11 laps having been completed here. 8.5 seconds that gap, so it's fairly steady. Righty also electing to stay out. Prince Albert coming through, so things just... the rain not easing up at all, but things just very steady at the moment. So we will see whether... It's a good decision as Aussie now. Aussie Thunder coming into the pit lane. Thank you, Bob and Brian, saying Wilco took a very long time in the pit lane. So I'm guessing any damage or anything like that has been repaired, I should say. And he'll be good to go for the second half of this race. Aussie Thunder in the pits. 12 people joining us here tonight for this wonderful race at Spa. It's a long way to go. It is round 4, the endurance round here tonight, and you can see, look at the conditions. You can see how tricky, Bob, is it in these conditions. It's just, you got to be so careful, don't you, on the accelerator. It's you can never rest, can you, in these sort of conditions? It's just constant stress for the whole race, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's horrendous. And I must admit, I do feel for Barders. He's the only remaining Lambo with John pulling out. If you jump in car with Barders and you see the wheel work that he has to put in, it is horrendous in comparison to the rest of the field.
There we have it. So Barders had a massive save going through Eau Rouge, literally sideways on the way up, and that is not where you want to be.
Oh!
And if
He's gone around.
And is that...
Yeah, he's gone around.
Not... Barders is around.
Barders on the way down to Pouon, yeah.
On the way down to Pouon there, Barders, and he's back in the pit lane, so that could be it for Barders. We talked about the Lamborghini being a bit of a tricky car to handle in these conditions, and that was the case there. And you can see he is back in the pit lane. But I'll tell you what, there's not a lot of close action, is there, Bob, at the moment? Almost half the race exactly gone here. And you can see 6 seconds. Albert to righty. Matterford, 9.4 seconds. Rob Dog, 8.6. So the top 7 yet to make a pit stop. Binger, Wilco, Thunder have done that. GRT back out onto the circuit in 11th place. So your man, Dazzler, is down to 11th, I should say. GRT inside of that top 10. So just playing a bit of a waiting game, as you can see there. Wind 10 kilometres, track temperature 20 degrees, a little bit cooler than what we would expect. Air temperature 19, and rain, rain, rain. It's not going anywhere here in this race. 12 laps gone, 12 people watching the stream, and we're just getting official confirmation through that Barders has retired the car. And he did mention during practice that he hasn't spent much time in the wet. hopefully a better run for him next week. And, well, we had wet qualifying, a wet race, and it takes that little bit more out of these drivers, especially when the conditions are as tricky as they are here tonight. As you can see, also Voodoo right across it here in the pit lane. Rick getting disqualified. We saw him drop off our timing screens as well. So just corner cutting Voodoo. Do we know why Rick was disqualified from the race at all tonight?
I'm just going back over the replay to find out.
Normally a DSQ is like an infringement within the pit lane, I think.
Yeah,
You might have spun round a couple of times.
From what I can see, it looks like he sped in the pit lane.
So speeding in the pit lane, that'll do it. You can see on your screen there, Rick Oztech, DSQ, disqualified. And that's a shame for Rick because it was good to see him here tonight. Usually he hangs in there, doesn't he, fellas? And he does what he can to try and get a point or two at the back of the field. But here we have it. 28 minutes gone. Half the race gone, half still to go. Do not go anywhere because we've still got plenty of laps to run here at the moment. Let's just recap. HSV going through again. Still not coming into the pits. So he's on his merry way there. 9 or so seconds ahead of this man in the pink Ferrari. Could we be seeing another drive of the week for Tier 1? Was that a McLaren sneaking into the pits, Bob Hoskins? It looks like it's Prince Albert.
Oh, sorry, I was on board with Binger then. Yeah, he's in the pits.
He's in the pits, so that's interesting. Matterford goes through. And Prince Albert, come on, guys. He's waiting for the pit crew to appear. They're going to magically appear, or what's going to happen? Buenos nachos, guys. Come on. Vamos, vamos, vamos. And there we have it. So we'll leave Albert to it there. Matterford, his teammate, goes through. And Rob, still in 5th place. I'm not calling driver of the day just yet, Voodoo, but he is looking good. And was that somebody coming out of the pits? HSV will wait till the end like normal. So he's got a bit of history there, I reckon, fellas. He likes to wait until the end of the race. And he really, that gap is quite steady, isn't it, Bob, between HSV and Righty? So he might as well just keep going if he's maintaining that gap and keeping the pace.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's what he'll be watching. It was starting to grow earlier on while Binger was, you know, still in that fight up front. It was starting to grow, but yeah, if they're both feeling like they're not being hampered, they'll stay out. So the one thing to watch now is both Binger and Wilco are now through La Source, and Albert is still static.
So there we have it. Branchy also into the pits. Albert's moving again. And here we go. It's going to be mighty close. And boy, oh boy, this is going to be touch and go, I reckon. I'm looking at the track map. Here he comes. Different sort of pit lane. It's the endurance pit lane. Have they got through? I think they might have.
Yeah, they've both gone through.
They've gone.
But I just wanted to see what the gap was now. So what was it? It was about 12 seconds that Albert was back from Wilco. Was that right before?
Yeah,
the pits?
roughly about a dozen or so seconds. So let's just wait for these timing screens to refresh themselves. It is a very long pit lane here, Brian. That's what you've got to keep in mind when you are racing around here. But what is it? 11.4 seconds between Albert and Wilco now. So interesting stuff. Branchy still coming out of the pits, one would assume. But so there we have it. So that's interesting. And
HSV's in the pits.
And HSV, our race leader, is in the pit lane. And you can see there, Righty, the gap was Righty is through. And it says the gap 3 seconds, but of course HSV coming into the pits. Matterford continues on his merry way along with Rob. And in many ways, Bob, Rob's got not a great deal to lose here, does he? He might as well just keep going. He's sitting pretty. He's having a good race, nice and clean, apart from a minor incident earlier on. So Rob's just going to keep going. He's happy. He might as well go continue as he is.
Yeah, if he's heavy on fuel, he'll be static for, you know, less of a period. Who's that's gone round?
And somebody...
Who's the yellow flag?
And we'll get...
that was Matterford.
Matterford. So Matterford, who we saw going past the pits, having a bit of a moment there. And now, is that Rob Dog coming up behind him? So there we have it. Not sure what happened. We might get you to check that out, Voodoo, but I just saw the yellow flag, and it was Matterford once again getting it wrong through there, and he looks to have a bit of damage on that left front, Bob, which is not going to be helpful.
No, and I think that's what the boys are doing. I think if anyone's carrying... sorry, I've just got to go back to...
Perfect timing here, because Jason and Binger are very close. It doesn't get much closer than this, side by side through Eau Rouge. Binger keeps his foot in it there, very brave at the top of the hill. Who's going to come out on top? Oh, we talked about a big set of coconuts here, Bob, but is he going to have a crack? Look at this, Wilco's lining him up here, Bob. He's going to have a crack, I reckon.
Yeah, he's going to try and get that done under the brakes. Although Binger's gone defensive already.
And Binger, like we saw at the start, going defensive as he was on HSV over the bumps. Not a place where you want to be here in these conditions, but oh my goodness, Binger just keeps putting that car in all the right places, Bob.
Really well done. Fantastic.
Fantastic piece of defensive driving. He might not be in the Nissan, but boy, oh boy, he is looking good in the number 33 Mercedes tonight. Wilco's all over the back of him, and I don't reckon he's going to get through at this part of the lap. But Binger has fended off a challenge, a huge challenge from Jason Wilkinson. And I've got to say, a two-time champion right up on your rear bumper is not something that you can take lightly. And Binger is handling it beautifully. Is Wilco going to have another go here? He's got a good run on him. And there we have it. He might be through. Yes, he is. So great defensive work there from Binger, but he is now through. And you can see Dazzler says, "Go, Aussie, go. Let's hear it." And Matterford update from Voodoo, Nigerian Prince in the pit lane, says Matterford saved it by a whisker. But the tyre wall up Eau Rouge scraped along that wall at the top, looked very minor damage. So thank you, our man on the spot, Voodoo, Nigerian Prince, right across everything. And those graphics, those wonderful graphics you see on our streams each and every week. Thanks to that man. V is for Voodoo. Thank you for that, Cameron Norris, the legend himself from South Australia. Jump across to his YouTube channel as well, V is for Voodoo, to see plenty of great content. But here we go, lap 15 of this race. 21 minutes remaining. Where has this race gone? Rob currently up to second place, yet to make his pit stop, and now Matterford is in. And I'm guessing, Bob, that's a smart move considering that incident on the previous lap.
Yeah, he might so just regroup, come back out. I mean, he is going to lose positions as a result, but it's better to live to fight another day. Well
said. There we have it.
Wilco.
And I've just hit my microphone because Wilco is off. He's off and he's into the barriers. He's at the top of the hill there, Bob. He's had a massive moment.
Yeah, he caught that unfortunate bit of the curb through Radion, and then hit the inside wall. It sort of just grabs the car and spits it left. So he's badly damaged. He's actually just let Maddie through. Albert through, sorry.
So he's just let Albert through, and you can see, can't you, that damage to that McLaren. We saw the end of that incident, but and you can tell by the steering, can't you, Bob? You can tell straight away that there's some serious damage with that car. So what does he do now? Down to P6. He was looking good, wasn't he? He'd made his pit stop, and he was well and truly sitting pretty there, wasn't he? Going into the last 20 or so minutes of this race. But what does he do now, Bob? Does he just is it too much? Does he just come into the pits and try his luck in there and see what else he can do at the end of the race?
No, I think because you lose so much time in the pits, he would be better off just trying to manage this through to the end. So, yes, he's going to lose some pace, but the time at this stage of the race that you would lose being in pit lane, he's better off just, grinding it out.
Because it's such a long pit lane, as we mentioned earlier, and you lose so much time. I think you almost go a lap down, don't you, Bob? So it's really not worth it, as Wilco then just trying to manage the gap back to GRT was roughly 26 seconds. I'm sure it'll be a lot less than that at the moment, but so Wilco, with just 19 minutes remaining now, will be trying to manage this damage. We saw him let Albert through. Thank you for that, Wilco. And there we have it. Binger up in fourth. HSV now in third
Righties
position. Righties into the pits, which gives Rob Dog the race lead. So literally, a man who didn't manage to get a qualifying lap in and was plumb last at the start, he's up into first.
Wilco's pitting.
And Wilco is pitting. So, we mentioned it, didn't we, whether he would come into the pits or not, but he has decided, you know what, I'm going to come into the pits. I'm just trying to get my head around the reason behind it, though, Bob, considering the time.
Damp track.
Oh, hello.
So
I
from what I've
wonder
seen
if
on...
he's trying something a bit audacious.
Well, he's got nothing to lose as my dog is about to start barking. But did he come in? Oh, no, sorry, I beg your pardon. It's a different pit lane. We've got the endurance layout here in the pit lane, don't we? And you don't want to touch those bollards or those curbs on the left-hand side there because they are like concrete, aren't they? Here he comes into the pits. So you'd never know. And, well, this could be a stroke of genius from Rob Dog as well, Voodoo. If that weather's improving, Voodoo, we might see something a little bit different here. So this race not done and dusted as yet.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, anything can happen at the end of it, and you know the dry line's more prevalent than the wet line, so tyres are definitely going to be feeling the pinch. But I mean, Wilco coming into the pit lane, I'm not too surprised about it. My practice with the McLaren over the last couple of days, it doesn't really like damage at all. He probably would have been experiencing probably 15 odd seconds of damage there, and that's enough just to really throw the car out completely. So yeah, definitely a wise choice to come in, make it to the line at the end of the race. It could have ended a lot worse if he didn't.
I'm actually in car with Binger at the moment, and exactly like you just said, Voodoo, it does look like the track is drying.
Oh, very, very dry track. Like, you know, there's only a minor amount of damp track if you're realistically looking at it like that. Sure, the rain's still coming down and the curbs are all wet, but, you know, there's realistically no room to cool the tyres down. You know, if you're trying to cool them down, it's not really a good line to go through. It's not viable, but yeah, definitely going to be burning the tyres up right now.
There we have it. Thank you, boys. Fantastic stuff. Sorry about the dog barking in the background. How did she get into the commentary box? But plenty happening. We could be seeing this rain easing off as Binger comes across the top of Eau Rouge. Under 16 minutes left in this race. Let us know in the comments who are you tipping, who will win here at Spa tonight in this round 4 of Tier 1 for the British GT Championship. Rob Dog getting a little bit nervous, look.
Oh!
And somebody else has dropped off the screens. What's going on,
I was
Bob?
on board with Wilco again, just to see if he had actually gone to dries. He hasn't. He's back. He's still on wets, and he had a massive, massive moment.
And so Wilco, he's stuck with the wets. We thought he might do something a little bit different. There he is on your screen. And I've got to say, Wilco now, can he get a point? That's the next question. And there we have it. Thank you very much, Wilco. Now, Rob, is he going to come into the pits? Let's have a look. Our race leader now, he still is yet to make a pit stop. And is he going to come in this lap? No, he's continuing on. So he's just going to keep going.
He's going for a Norris.
Yeah. Would you like to come in? Rob? No.
No.
No. Are you sure? Yep. No. Okay.
Shut up.
Okay, there we have it. HSV now in second place. Driver of the day. As these cars, HSV has looked a little bit nervous. Almost as nervous as me. Talking like an Englishman with an actual Englishman in the commentary box. And I know, Bob, you must be thinking he sounds like an absolute twat there. But HSV is in second place, boys. Who are you thinking? Earlier going, I know, still 14 minutes left. Driver of the day, who we thinking so far?
To me, depending on where Rob Dog comes out, I think I can't look past Rob Dog. You know, started at the back, stuck with it. Let's see where he comes out. And if he's still around 5th or 6th, I think you've got to give it to Rob Dog, in my opinion.
And that's a pretty good, I reckon. You can see there, Voodoo. Thank you for that, Voodoo. Great stuff once again. You can see the qualifying results on your screen. And it was Wilco ahead of Albert for P1, P2 in qualifying. Then Matterford, HSV, Binger, Righty as well in 6th. So and there we have it. Just to help you all out there watching with your driver of the day votes. But lap 18, there is Rob. HSV a long way behind him. So as you said, Bob, it'll be interesting to see in the last dozen or so minutes if I'm just trying to work out.
Yellow flag, Wilco.
Got a yellow flag. Is that for Wilco?
Yeah, he's just teleported. He's teleported.
And he's teleported into the pit lane. He might even come into the commentary box to let us know how he's travelling. So it doesn't look like he will get a point unless somebody else drops out of the race, potentially. We'll have to get to the rule book there, Voodoo, but whether he can get a point or not. But Albert, driver of the day, says Brian. Consistent placing, but Rob Dog, if he finishes in the top 3, definitely will get Brian's vote. Thank you for that, Brian. Great to have you with us. Great to have everybody's company here tonight. As you can see, we thought it might be drying up, but it doesn't look like it is, does it, as that rain continues to fall here in Belgium. Only 12 minutes remaining. Watch that pit lane entry there, Rob, as he comes into the pits now. And, well, you can see the field very spread out, so he might come out. He might come out with clear air there, so whether he will still be inside the top 3, we will wait and see. But we'll keep an eye on that. So HSV now, he's a long way back, but he will take the race lead. And Voodoo agreeing with the great man Bob Hoskins on his remarks for driver of the day. Rob has had a tremendous race. Deserves my vote tonight, but a top 5 result would settle that choice. Albert, still a hot choice as well. So get those votes in. It is a democracy, of course. I forget who was driver. Was it Brian last night? I forget. I think it might have been Brian last night. But there we have it. 11 minutes now remaining. Keep those comments coming in. Wilco saying he got some mad air through Eau Rouge. And he was flying up the top of the hill through Eau Rouge. It's a very hectic corner, no doubt about that. And here comes Rob. Is he just coming into the pits now? Yes. So let's take a look. You can see HSV is about to go past into the race lead. And Brian got driver of the day last night. Too easy, LOL. That's right. He checked out at the front, didn't you, Brian? So thank you for reminding me about that. He got it done quite easily in the end last night for the Tier 2 race. And don't forget, this championship is still well and truly on. Next week, we head to Snetterton, back to the UK, more familiar country for our man Bob Hoskins, of course. But you can see it's looking at the moment, I say at the moment because still a lot can happen in the next 10 or so minutes, that HSV could win this race. And where is Rob Dog? He's just moving now. Is he going to come out ahead of... No, I beg your pardon, he's not going to come out ahead of Righty. What about GRT? I don't reckon he's going to get GRT here either, Bob, is he? No.
No, just behind him.
So there we have it. So Rob, just 10 minutes remaining in this race. So everyone has made a stop. So Rob, the last driver to make a pit stop, and you can see there down to P6. And we heard Voodoo, Nigerian Prince, saying top 5 would seal the vote for Rob. As Jason saying Binger for driver of the day. Pretty safe bet as well. Aussie Thunder down there in 8th. We might just keep going through the order. Your man, Branchy Brian, who's inside the top 10. And Wilco is done for the day. Good vibes. P10, P9 for good vibes. P10 for Branchy there. And, well, what... Oh, just tricky conditions still. Good vibes there. So where is the closest battle? What have we got? Good vibes. 2.6 behind Thunder. I think that is the closest thing we've got so far with under 10 minutes remaining, Bob, here tonight.
Yeah, so Albert is... Yeah, Albert's flying at the moment. His bonnet is flapping all over the place, but he's considerably quicker than the 2 ahead of him.
Well, could there be a final twist in the tail? And you can see, just as you mentioned, Albert, you can see the damage on his car, but he is flying. We're going to keep an eye on this gap. It's plenty to do, isn't it, Bob? But 5.1 seconds. He's got some pace about him, hasn't he? With only a few minutes left now.
Yeah, and you know, he's got Binger in his sights. He can see the car, so there's his carrot. You know, there's what he's hunting. Binger has lost a little bit of time to HSV, but they're doing. Oh my! Sorry, Albert just made me lay nuggets as he was coming through Radion.
There we have it. And you can see, here we go, Albert, here we go. Get behind him, everybody. Everyone in Spain, everyone in Richmond, down there in Melbourne. You've spent 260-something days in lockdown, but if this man can get home, there's going to be a party at Movida, a nice little Spanish restaurant down there in Little Burke Street, I think. It's a fantastic place, a bit of Spanish tapas and some paella there. And you can see that Albert is got 4.7 seconds, Bob. Hello, 4.7 seconds. And like you said, he's got that Spanish carrot dangling in front of him there because he can see this man, Binger, who's had a good race, potentially driver of the day material. I was going to vote for Rob. Bit of a soft spot for that man. He's come good, hasn't he? Despite no practice, nothing leading into the race tonight. But we can't have any more than 2 or 3 laps left, I reckon, between now and the checkered flag for round 4 of this championship, wrapping up Tier 1 tonight. We saw a great result for Brian last night, running away with the race in Tier 2, and tonight it's Tier 1 action aplenty so far tonight. We saw action last night, and we've seen even more here tonight. But lap 20 of this race, it is this man sitting pretty, P1, 7.2 seconds ahead of Binger. But it is Albert now, 4.4. That carrot, Bob, is getting closer.
It is looming larger. They've through the bus top chicane. Binger's just left it, and Albert's just entering. So yeah, that's coming down.
Down. Prices are down. Times are down. Then we've got Righty. Bit of a mixed bag for him. Will he be happy with tonight? Will he be disappointed? Driver of the week last week. He's looking like P4 at the moment. But Brian, honestly though, Binger in the Merc. Not his car of choice, but obviously the wet does suit him. Possible candidate for driver of the day. And we've seen Binger's name mentioned a fair bit, but he does look good, doesn't he, Brian, in that Merc, in these conditions, suiting him very nicely. Righty there, as we said, in P4. GRT, he was further down the field, wasn't he, earlier on in the race? He's up in P5. But Rob now also getting close. What's that gap between Rob and GRT? 4.6 seconds, Bob, but plenty to do with 5.5 minutes remaining. And then it's this man, Matterford, 6.9 behind Rob. But he's been in the wars, hasn't he, tonight, Matterford? He won't be happy with his race tonight at all, will he, Bob?
No, it's been unfortunate. He's actually had a couple of incidents, and you know, the recent races I've seen him in, he's seemed to just keep it nice and clean. He hasn't had, you know, many mishaps, but today I think it's all caught up with him, unfortunately.
And it's a long race, of course. These endurance rounds, very different to the sprint rounds, of course, because you've got to concentrate. Not that you don't have to concentrate in the sprint rounds, but they're much shorter. If you have a bad race 1, you can always make up for it in race 2 or qualifying 2. But we're counting down 4 minutes, 40, 39, 38, 37. Thank you, everybody, for sticking with us here tonight. It's been hovering around the 10 viewers. Crazy numbers, great stuff. It is an absolute pleasure to bring this to you. And has Albert lost a bit of steam? 4.3 now. I reckon Binger will hold on. In fact, if he does hold on, he's potentially going to get my vote. As Wilco says, HSV has been awesome, but Binger in a car he's not used to might be my driver of the day. So there we have it, Wilco getting his vote in. And I'm getting a lot of love for Binger in the driver of the day voting. But with 4 minutes to go, lap 22 of this race, it is that man, HSV, sitting pretty. So I reckon this might be, what do you reckon, Bob? This lap and another, I reckon, judging by the time?
Yes, yeah, 2 more laps, I'd say.
Before the end of this race. So we're going to complete roughly 23 laps of this race. We saw Brian last night. He got to the finish line and had to do that extra lap almost. He could have eased off, but very keen, our man Brian. He just wanted to finish it off in style. There we have it. You can see the time ticking down on the top right-hand corner of your screen. And is this man 7.2 seconds ahead of Binger, but Binger can't relax too much because he's got Albert still only 4 seconds behind him. They can see each other down the Kemmel Straight into Les Combes, and it is still very close indeed. Righty all out on his own, and then it's GRT well behind him in 5th place. Rob Dog in 6th, not making any inroads.
Matterford again.
GRT, I should say. Matterford and Thunder. What's happening here, Bob? Has Matterford gone off again somewhere?
Yeah, so he lost it coming into the bus stop chicane, and obviously that's invited Aussie Thunder into the scrap.
So this is the scrap as Matterford runs a little bit wide. Is he going to leave the door open for Thunder? No move, nothing doing through turn 1. But you can see Thunder very interested there. It's put him right back into the clutches of Thunder. So Dazzler, if you haven't gone to bed and you're watching this battle, oh, Matterford! Oh no! And he's heading straight to the scene of the accident. And you can see that coming a mile away, and there was no getting out of that, Bob.
No, I think, to be honest, because he's had a few incidents, I think what's happened is he's either cooked his tyres or he's driving with heavy damage. So I think, you know, any time that he's even close to being next to the limit, that car's just letting go.
So he's down to 10th, and you can see yellow flags out there at the top of the hill. You can see Matterford. Look at the damage to his car. He's still running, so, well, he could potentially, he's still going to get a point. So there we have it, as this man comes across the line to complete his final lap of the race. I didn't hear race control. Leader on the final lap, leader on the final lap. And there we have it. So Wilco saying the McLaren bottoms out so hard in Eau Rouge. Even with 80% rear ride height. Brian, look at Branchy. Let's have a look at Branchy, because this is very close between him and Good Vibes. Battles right throughout the field tonight. Thank you for the heads up, Brian, our race winner from last night by plenty. And you can see Branchy and Good Vibes battling it out for P8. All McLaren drivers have had a spin in this race. And we've missed...
Every time I jump in with Albert and he's going through Radion, it's clenching moments.
We'll see what the word is for clench. We'll ask Albert after the race if he stays where he is. But now it's 2 seconds. He's out of shape again through Les Combes. I tell you what, it must be nerve-wracking. It's nerve-wracking for me, Bob, watching him go up through there. It's heart-in-mouth stuff at the moment, but we can have a look at HSV. There he is, HSV V12, who is coming down to Pouon for the final time here. He's handled the conditions perfectly, and we don't want to go too early. I think it was Nigel Mansell who was waving to the crowd many years ago, Bob, and broke down on the last lap. But there we have it. I don't think that's going to happen to HSV here. So there's only a few corners separating him and victory tonight. 3, 2, 1, 0. That is it. Binger and Albert. That looks very close, Bob. Could we see something? No. Oh, it's going to be brave. I reckon Binger's got him here unless he makes a mistake.
Yeah, I think all Binger's got to do is just, I think, and he has. He's watched that gap sort of coming down little by little, but I think he knows as long as he's just nice and steady now through, you know, the final couple of corners, he's got second place wrapped up.
There we have it. So this man, he started an hour ago. He started in P4. And when everyone else was making mistakes, spinning, going off the track around him, he's done an absolutely superb job here through the bus stop for the final time. Out onto the start-finish straight. There we have it. Fantastic performance from HSV. Binger in a car that he's not used to, finishes a fantastic second. And Albert in third. There we have it. So third in the end for Albert. Here comes Righty in the pink Ferrari. Solid result for Binger tonight. Brian Binger, driver of the day for sure. A much better drive tonight as we see Righty coming out of the final corner. He's going to take P4 as we see him cross the line and let the fireworks start, because GRT now runs a little bit wide there, but he's going to finish in P5. Not a bad result for him tonight. And then it's going to be Rob Dog a bit further back. Who else is running here? Aussie Thunder. So some of these guys almost...
still got a finish.
Yep, so Aussie Thunder,
I'll
good
tell you what, the
vibes.
scrap is still going on.
The scrap.
With Branchy and good vibes.
The scrap, Bobby. Look at this. Brian, we are not going to take our eyes off this. These two are not done. It might be for P8, but it means an awful lot, and who knows what it could mean for the championship later on in the season as somebody...
Oh, no!
And Branchy's lost it. Spin, spin, spin. Round, round, round he goes. I got a bit nervous there because Albert joined the party. We'll get to you in a moment, Prince Albert. But Branchy through the final corner. He just lost it. I was hoping he could put it down the inside at the final corner, Bob, but he couldn't quite get it done. So Good Vibes will finish 8th. Branchy finishing 9th. And that is it. There we have it. Matterford will be classified, I think, in the end. Wilco, not so sure about him. Wow, what a race we have seen. 1 hour of action right the way from start to finish. Wow, let's take a breath, Bob. That was intense stuff.
Yeah, no, that was nail-biting. Some of the on-car moments where I was puckering up. So, no, really good racing all the way through.
So there we have it. We've got Binger joining the party as well, along with Albert. I don't think we have our race winner in here yet, guys. So we might start with you, Albert. We'll go 3, 2, 1. And Albert, buenos nachos. Can you hear us loud and clear there?
Yep. Hello, Trev.
Well, hello to you, my good man. And I've got to say, every single time, mate, we watched you go through Eau Rouge, we looked at you and thought, wow, that guy has an incredibly big set of coconuts, because it was heart-in-mouth stuff, mate. Talk us through those conditions tonight.
Yeah, it was very tricky. I'm a bit upset myself because at the start, I just knew I had to stay behind Wilco. And last season, I spun in no-name corner on the wet. And this year, I did the same on lap 1, so it seemed that I'm not learning. But yeah, after that, I was a bit angry at the start. I did a big send into the chicane. So sorry to the boys if anyone was damaged by my send. But yeah, after that, just head down, lap after lap, and at the end, yeah, very happy with the podium.
Great stuff. We couldn't be happy for you, mate. Congratulations, P3 tonight, and all the best. And all the best to the family, mate. Stay safe down there in Melbourne. Floods, earthquakes, coronavirus, pandemics, we've had it all, mate. But congratulations, P3 tonight.
Thanks, mate. Cheers, guys.
Great stuff. Buenos nachos, yes. And moving right along to Binger. Binger, can you hear us, mate?
Yeah, mate. Gotcha, Joe.
Well, I'm just looking at the comments, Binger. Congratulations on P2 tonight. In a car that you're not that familiar with, mate, but you handled it superbly. And all I'm seeing is votes for you, my good man, for driver of the day tonight. Talk us through it.
Oh, thanks for that, guys. Yeah, a wet race, mate. I always love the wet, so just had a little bit of tyre pressure problems there towards the end. HSV managed to jump me on the pit stop. I had to look after my tyres till it got a little bit heavier again, and then I could push a little bit and just held off Albert towards the end there. So, good result. The car was still shiny, no hits, so very happy.
Great stuff, mate.
Good drive, good drive.
Fantastic drive, and absolutely love seeing you up there in P2, mate. You've had a tough season, but you're back at the business end of the field. So congratulations, mate, and we'll catch you next week.
Cheers, mate. Good to finish on. Thanks, Trev.
Great stuff. Binger there, you absolute legend, finishing in P2. Albert in P3. And Voodoo, have we got our race winner in there?
Yeah.
Hey guys, how you going?
Good HSV. I'm
HSV.
hearing a bit of an echo there, mate, but talk us through your race.
Yeah, hold up. Let me see if I can fix that. Hold up. Is that better?
Sounding good, mate. Yep, that's a little bit better. Sorry, I was just a bit, was putting me off there. But talk us through your race tonight, mate. You literally reigned supreme tonight.
Oh, it was bit different, but it was good in the damp. I've never really raced in those conditions before, so I saw Albert was catching Bingo quite significantly at the end, and I was getting a little bit worried that if I made a mistake, he'd definitely capitalise, and both of them would capitalise actually. But yeah, didn't put a foot wrong. Tyres were okay. I overfilled by about 40 litres, but the car was stable, so that's the main thing.
Fantastic stuff, mate. They were tricky conditions, and you had to deal with it, and you deal with it. You did. Fantastic result tonight, mate. And we've got three. What have we got? 3 rounds left there. We've got the race calendar up on the screen, but you put yourself well and truly, even in the championship fight. So congratulations for tonight.
Thank you very much.
There we have it. Our race winner HSV, joined by Binger, our driver of the day, along with Prince Albert as well. But that is almost us done. I think we're out of time. That's a wrap for tonight. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Voodoo. It's been an absolute pleasure once again.
Yeah, no, thanks for having us again.
Great stuff, and do not forget that the action continues next week. We go from Spa back to the UK for round 5 of this championship. Tier 2 will be on Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, followed by Tier 1 next Thursday night. And you can see, judging by the championship, that things are heating up. But a big thank you to everyone. Brian, Jason, Voodoo, thank you for everything you do, mate. You're an absolute legend, and fantastic to have you with us once again for tonight. But that is a wrap, ladies and gentlemen. That was round 4 of this championship. Tier 2 and Tier 1 is done. Don't forget to join us next week back in the UK for round 5 of this championship. Stay safe, stay well, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.